Welcome back. Welcome to the FSX 404 channel. I know I haven't put out any videos lately, but that's because I'm very busy. In this case, I'm putting out this little video. The reason being is most of the approach is briefed already. This is the Tivat approach, the localizer Tivat approach, but not a straight in. We're actually going to do a circle to land procedure for the Tivat approach. We'll do the localizer DME runway 32 approach, and then we'll do a circle to land runway 14. Now, for some of these airports, they're a little more complicated, or in mountainous areas, they've actually denoted the circle to land procedure. In this case, we can see that at point D3, the circle to land procedure takes us in a heading of 297. Now, we are flying visually here. There's no other instruments other than our eyes and the headings. So once we reach that point D3 from the Tivat localizer, we're just going to fly a heading of 297 up until our DME tells us that we're again 3 miles from the localizer. At that point, we're going to turn to a heading of 316 until we reach the point D4, distance 4 from the localizer, and then we're just going to do a nice turn to line up with the runway. Now, this turn has to be done at a maximum speed of 185 knots, indicated speed of 185 knots. If we go any faster, our turn will be wider, we may end up hitting a mountain. So we'll do our turn at 185 knots or below, and we should come out lined up or close to being lined up with the runway. If we're not, we're just going to line up really quick and land the plane. Now we're going to do this circle to land procedure at a circle to land altitudes, which they give us down here, which you can see it's 1430 feet if your airspeed is 135 and 2040 feet if your airspeed is above 180 knots. Now we'll be about 155, so we're going to keep it at about 1500. But then again, this is a visual approach. So at some point we're going to start our descent, because by the time we roll out onto the final, we need to be between 900 and 1000 feet. If you're interested in the rest of this approach, look at the other video and it will actually guide you through the whole approach. At this point, we're just going to pick up about a mile or two from point D3, and we're just going to do the circle to land procedure. Today's plane is going to be a Quality Wings Boeing 757-300. And any pilot that has flown a 757 will tell you that they love that plane. That plane handles like a Porsche up there. Now, let's get ourselves in the airplane and let's fly this circle to land procedure. Hey guys, we're in the airplane right now. We are on a Tivat localizer. We're getting pretty close to that 3 miles where we have to do our turn to a heading of 297. So let's go fully visual at this point, because we do have the whole area in sight, and we're going to use our eyes and we're going to use the headings for the circle to land procedure. Okay, so we are at 3 miles. Let's turn to a heading of 297. I do use heading bugs because sometimes when it gets busy in the cockpit, the less I have to think about, the better it is. Now, I just want you guys to know I haven't flown in a Microsoft Flight Simulator for the past 4 months. I haven't touched it, and this is my first flight after these 4 months in the Flight Simulator. I've been flying plenty in real life, but not the Flight Sim, and I've chosen 757 because I love this plane, and it's also a little bit harder to handle in the Microsoft Flight Simulator than some other planes. So this should be interesting. We are at 1,800 and descending. At this point, we're actually above the minimum altitude for the circle to land procedure, but we're slowly descending. Okay, landing gear is down.
Approaching minimums. Approaching minimums. 1,000. Approaching minimums. Approaching minimums.
We're getting pretty close to that 3 mile mark from the localizer again, at which point we're going to turn to a heading of 316.
Approaching minimums.
We are 1,380 feet.
Approaching minimums. Approaching minimums.
At this point, we're actually past that tallest obstacle on our approach, on our circle to land approach, so we can actually start our descent below that 1,430 feet. Here we are, 3 miles. Let's turn to a heading of 316 until we reach the 4 mile mark. There's the heading of 316, or pretty close to it. Okay, now this 4 mile mark is going to come up really quick, so we have to be ready. Here's the 4 miles. Let's talk about this turn a little bit, because this is going to be a hard turn. We're going to try to be at about 1,000 feet as we're rolling out onto the final here. One thing that I did find out when I started teaching cadets how to fly, the Air Force ROTC cadets and the Civil Air Patrol cadets, or their initial flights, was that they don't have problems with the individual maneuvers. They can get those pretty quick. One of the biggest problems they initially had was rolling out at specific altitudes at specific headings. So it's very important that we practice these rolling out during these descending or climbing turns, that we roll out at the altitude we want to. We're actually doing two things at the same time. But with practice, we all get better. Alright, there's the runway. We are right at the 1,000 feet, so we're looking good there. We undershot it just a little bit, but that's okay, that's good. We are just going to roll out, line up with it really quick, and land. The PAPI looks like we're high, but believe me, we're too close for it. We will get in the glide slope within seconds. Let's make that roll onto the final.
500. 400.
There we are, we're on the glide slope. Let's add a little bit of power. We want to be at 138 knots as we touch down.
200.
At this point, we are aiming for a certain point on the runway we want to land. Forget about the PAPI lights, we're too close for that. We have our spot, let's get on the center line.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
There's some crosswinds. There's touchdown, reverse thrusters. And that's what happens in crosswinds. But all in all, pretty good landing. Let's take a look at the flight path and then the outside view. And again, thanks guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
One 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.